Welcome to Progress with Pagano. I'm your host, Alex Pagano. Today, we have a very special guest, and I am so excited for this episode. We have not only a top producing real estate agent, but also an awesome person. His name is Rich Cassell, and welcome, man. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me here, Alex. I'm super excited that I was invited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, I think this is a great opportunity to, show you on this platform and give some great tokens to other people in our industry. Because you've amassed so much success in this business, and I have so many questions for you. And, let's just get right into it, right? How long have you been in real estate for?
I was blessed to get into this industry in 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
And that is an interesting time to get into the business.
Yeah, it was a funky world. People didn't trust banks, real estate, it was uncertain. And then the light came out of the clouds and people started to creep out and get more into getting back into the market. So it was a good jump off point for me to get in at that time.
Why real estate?
It's a great question, man. I went to art school. I had zero direction with my life. I met my now wife in school, and I kind of floated around. But while I was in school, I really befriended my landlord. He was a great dude, gave me a lot of insight, was a friend, and he kind of gave me a shot, and I kind of ran with it and, crescendoed from there.
Wow. So I'm super impressed with you, man. You're not only a top producer, realtor in Philadelphia, but in this whole country, you're a top producer, man.
No one's told me that, but I'll take your word for it.
How many units did you close last year?
We did 74 units.
That is unreal. That is unreal. So you have a team.
Mm-hmm.
What's your team name?
My Philly Cassell.
My Philly Cassell. You have such a great last name, too.
I appreciate it. It took a little bit to come up with a good name that I could pair it with, but it kind of clicked. So,
yeah. Did you have like a few others you were kind of testing out and see which one you like the most?
No, it just, one day I was like, oh, Eureka,
You got those creative juices, man. You went to art school.
Yeah.
You were able to use that as an outlet. That's awesome. So, what would you say to a newer agent who's just starting?
Yeah.
How would you get your boots off the ground? Like if you just let's just say you passed your real estate exam.
Yep.
You have no connections. You just moved to Philadelphia or any city.
Yeah.
How would you start in this career?
That's a great question that I'd say every agent asks themselves. That you got to recognize there's four main pillars of real estate, right? Finding the deal, talking your way into the deal, marketing the deal, and then negotiating. If you can master those fundamental aspects of the business, you'll do well. Keep the equation simple so you leave room for complexity in the execution of it. To be direct, you have to get used to the fundamentals, understand market values, understand the industry, understand the lingo of negotiation, get to know the contracts. Those are basics. Once you feel good with the basics, you can build a foundation on your knowledge to actually have quality conversations with people.
Got it. So what would you say? I know a lot of, real estate professionals, real estate agents specifically, go out and just say, hey, I'm just going to buy leads and kind of just hoping something falls onto my lap. What would you say to a realtor who has that mindset?
You're in the wrong business. I mean, you shouldn't. Yes, you can buy leads. I totally respect that.
Mm.
I've never personally bought leads because I also started lean in this business, and I think you should be lean until you become profitable, which is year 4 to 5 probably. But you have to learn how to create your own opportunities. You have to be omnidirectional in where you see opportunities presenting themselves and then attack in the moment. Otherwise, you're not really fulfilling that sales mentality.
Mm-hmm. So you and Rich, you work a lot with like investors and people who like to flip homes or rehab homes.
Development, yeah.
Development. What got you in with developers? How did you find developers to partner with through these projects?
So I like most people, enjoyed watching $1 Million Listing Agent. Right? That was like my homework, And there was one thing, probably Frederick said, that it got me about development. He said, it's easier to get 10 listings from a developer than convince one grandma who's lived at her house, for 90 years and detaching the emotional interest in it. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a good idea. Let me approach that. So, I mean, I was boots on the ground. I mean, I was out day and sometimes evenings getting to know these contractors. Anytime I'd see, permits on the window, I was like, okay, that's where I got to talk to. I got to show up in the morning when the owner or the contractor's there, build a rapport. Not, we're going to call it borderline harassment, but I really showed my interest in wanting to bring value in their business. And that's, going back to your original question, how can a newer agent succeed? Learn how to bring value to somebody else's life or business, and then your success will follow that.
That's great. And actually, one of my favorite quotes and something that I apply to my life is, you don't have what you have not asked for, right? So unless you ask, you're not gonna get the result if you don't ask, right?
That's part of the listing pitch. Ask your way to yes.
Yeah,
you have to ask.
Yep. So all right, so working with developers versus working with let's just say a younger family or a family who's looking to purchase a home or sell their home. So what would you say the key differences in marketing are versus let's just say a house who maybe it's been lived in for 20 plus years, 15 plus years versus a brand new house? How do you differentiate the property, obviously, without just saying this is a new property? How would you maybe sell something that's a little older and not as, visually appealing right off the bat?
Yeah, so every house, there's a narrative that you have to create. So number one, it's not just about the home, it's also about the area or neighborhood. So number one, you leverage the key interesting parts about that area. And number two, I start on the listing presentation. So when I go there, I like to remain the authority throughout the entire process. So I'll literally give a piece of paper or pad to the homeowner as I'm saying, hey, take me through your house. Write 10 things you love about this house and 10 things you hate. The 10 things you hate, I know what to avoid in the listing description so I don't get a call from an angry homeowner saying, why do you have that in there? I hate this. The 10 positive things is because I use that to create the story of the warmth and the enjoyment that these people had that I can then pass on to somebody else.
Interesting. So I guess let's just say you get a property that needs a lot of work or a lot of. How do you factor that in? How do you come up with a number? As far as where to price the property, how do you actually determine how much to price it for?
The prospective buyer is going to be an investor to fix it. Is that what you mean?
Something that maybe just needs first time home buyer type property, needs a little bit of work,
a little sweat equity.
Yeah, a little sweat equity.
Okay. So you always back into a deal. That's how you figure out the numbers, right? You make your money or you make your equity when you purchase, because the market will only dictate you can sell or value this property at so much, which means the lower that you get a property, the greater the gap in equity you have for the ownership. So if you factor in, okay, this is how much it's going to cost to fix, this is what the overall value will be, or ARV, then you can back into what you actually have to pay for it to become profitable.
Gotcha. Okay.
Work backwards.
Gotcha. So, in this stage in your career, right? You're crushing it, top producer. How do you stay motivated? Like, how do you, stay motivated with all the success you've had? And I'm sure, in your business as it grows, how do you just keep it going? How do you stay in that mindset?
Yeah, I think a lot of agents get burned out because they live or die by the deal, and that's not a good way to approach it because you have no future vision of what it's going to be tomorrow. So I always go back to my big why, and a lot of that why is, and I know people say helping people, but 50% of my why is actually protecting people. It's not so much helping people. And I see buyers and sellers get burned in this industry all the time. So if I have the ability to stop them from being hurt and actually protect them either financially or, emotionally, that gets me going.
So your motivation in this business is helping others and being a genuine asset and resource for people who are looking to buy or sell their home.
Just bringing value. I mean, I got burned in real estate when I first started, renting an apartment in Philly, and I wish somebody was there beside me saying, Rich, it's going to be okay, I got you. This is what you should do. I didn't have that, so I want to be that resource for people. So when I say value, that's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
At its core.
How do you become a top producer?
How does one become a top producer? Don't look behind, only look forward. There's so much business to be had. There's so many things that you can do and so many deals to be done that you almost feel like there's just not enough time. And I think keeping that sense of urgency of, okay, we just put 3 deals under contract this week, but what are we doing for next week? That's a good indicator of keeping on track to do that, because you always want more. More, hungry, not in a greedy sense, but like a sense of pride and ownership of like, this is what I've built, but I know I can build way more. I got plenty of time to build way more. So not getting comfortable. Complacency is a very, very dark place to be in.
Did you have a mentor or someone that you looked up to when you first started in the business?
I was fortunate enough to have a lot of good mentors that I met. But mentors are only as good as the questions you ask them and the advice that you then execute on what they give you. So I would say if I broke up my career so far, which it still feels like short in comparison to other people, but if you broke it up like 4 different sections, each one of those sections I had a mentor that kind of propelled me to the next level because of what they were able to tell me, what I was able to ask, and what I was able to research on my own and then kind of bounce off of them.
So would you recommend maybe a newer agent who is not sure, what to do, what office to go to, what team to join? What kind of advice would you give to someone who is looking for some direction on where they just pass a test, where they should put their license or how they should go about that?
Funny you should ask, because you can join my team. No, I would always be very, very interested in being curious to learn. Ask a lot of questions, but ask quality questions. Like Google is a very robust search engine that answers, I would say, majority of the questions you have in this industry. So don't waste time asking frivolous questions to someone who you would like to be mentored to. Do your own research first, and then when you get stuck on your research, then you can go to someone who you emulate or want to emulate or are interested by and say, hey, I have an idea, do you think this would work if I tried it like that? That's how you can kind of get this spark of creative thinking between the two of you. I mean, I took out Mike McCann for lunch once. I mean, hit up the top dogs and, they'll typically open up to you if you show genuine interest.
Cassell.
Oh, I'll take you to lunch.
Yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if your phone starts ringing after this episode airs.
Yeah, the first 3 lunches are free, and then we cut that off.
Cool, man. And I really like how you say emulate too, because even a loan officer, and they're related. I feel like loan officer and real estate agent, there's some aspects that are definitely related. Obviously our line of work is very similar, but going through coaching, going through mentorship, I think the word emulation is huge. You're emulating what the top producer does.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge key to growing and becoming a top producer and becoming successful in this industry, in this line of work, in any line of work too. Anything that you set your mind to or want to accomplish when it comes to business, I think you need to not reinvent the wheel.
Oh my God. Are you in my head? Because I was waiting for you to take a pause, because I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
100%. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No. And I think a lot of people, kind of run in the hamster wheel, and they don't really realize that you don't need to do all that to be successful and to be a top producer.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the newer agents in the business, at least when I'm experiencing when I have conversations, they are hyper obsessed with social media presence. They feel as though if they don't have that, nobody takes them seriously, or they're not going to be able to continue growing the business. I would disagree. Okay. I was like a ghost on social media for a long time because I just focused on building the business. Build a business that you can actually promote on social media instead of pretending that you have something going on without any material essence behind that,
Wait, so if I go on Turo and rent a Lamborghini, that's not going to get me a listing?
Depends on which YouTuber you ask, but maybe. It could. They'll get you views, but I don't know if it's going to get you business.
Do you think that kind of stuff, like the flaunting on social media, do you think that turns people off to doing business with you?
I think if you're not genuine, it's pretty easy to spot, gloating or bloating, or showboating.
I feel like there's some people out there in the real estate industry who post a lot about their personal status or wealth, or showing fancy cars or different things. Do you think that is a good market tactic? Hey, I'm successful. There's a reason why you should work with me.
Yeah.
Or it's hey, you're just flaunting, material items.
You know, good for them if they enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody should have their own interest.
Mhm.
To me, that's like low self-esteem,
Mhm.
but I'm also calculated. I think if I'm going to do this, is this going to result in people who I want to attract to do business with will reach out to me? If they are, following through on those activities, maybe they're going to get the type of client that they want. If you're acting like you're selling on Sunset, right? Maybe that's the client you're going to get. Okay, great. If that's who you want to work with, that's who you should promote to, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, 2.5% on 50 million adds up
I'll
pretty
take it.
fast.
A little
Yeah.
plastic surgery, I think I can make that happen.
Yeah, you don't need it, man.
Thank you, Alex.
Cool. So, what would you say is your favorite hobby when it comes to? I know you're in like physical fitness and stuff, but like, what's your favorite like hobby or thing to do fitness related?
It's either going to the gym or some kind of combative exercise. Alex knows this well. You're leading me
do.
to that question. We
Yeah.
got to punch each other in the face a few times the other week.
That was fun, man. So, Rich took me to his gym and got to train a little bit, some
Yeah.
Muay Thai. That was a great time.
It's intense.
Yeah.
It's like skiing, but fists and kicks in your face.
It's like skiing, but less
Less
more
fun.
punches, more punches to the face.
Yeah.
Less, going high speed down a hill.
Yeah, maybe a couple branches.
But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I've never actually like done a formal sort of like. I've done a few like classes before, like boxing stuff when I was like younger.
At the Y or something.
No, it was an actual place I went to
Okay.
a couple times, but never actually went to like Muay Thai or like any sort of outside of boxing. Never
Right.
done anything
A full body.
full body.
Yeah. I love it. Number one, it's a huge stress reliever. It kind of clears my mind. It gives me the opportunity not have to think about anything else but that moment. And number two, it helps with my negotiation skills. Everything we do in life is negotiation. But dealing with somebody else who is aggressive towards you, that is the most raw form of negotiation you can deal with.
Mm.
Because if you're at the gym alone, or if you're trying to run on the treadmill as far as you can, if you start to get winded, you can take a moment, right? You can slow down, catch your breath. You can let yourself relax.
Mhm.
When you're dealing with somebody who is coming at you hard, you're on their time. You're not on your time. So learning how to deal with that and effectively maneuver to a successful situation, that can help translate positively towards your sales business. I suggest every realtor train how to fight for that reason.
Or like if you're in an open house and someone comes in, you need to know how to.
Yeah, that's a real thing. There's articles of people getting jumped in open houses.
That's crazy. I've seen some stuff like that before. That's crazy stuff. But no, going back to what you said, I completely agree. And I've been on the end, especially like on the phone too.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Verbal judo.
Verbal judo. That's a good one. That's true. It's true.
I've been on the other end of some combative individuals, especially like, you've been in this business for a while. You know how it can be.
I have dealt with psychos. I
Yeah.
can tell you for days. Oh my God.
I've been literally screamed at on the top of someone's lungs.
You
Literally
get death threats yet?
screaming.
You're not in the business long enough then.
Not yet. Don't put that out there,
Yeah.
man. I don't want any of that. But I'm sure all types of crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like being a realtor too, compared to a loan officer, you're meeting a lot of people in person.
Yeah.
More it's like a phone call with a buyer.
Very true.
But I guess you're not typically you don't meet the listing agent unless it's at a inspection, right? Or
Not often. A lot of it these days is like phone calls.
I know some listing agents like to actually go to the inspection, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you should run your business how you see fit in a way where you can guarantee the highest rate of success.
Mhm.
Do it. But feel out the situation. If you're gonna be like, no, that's not true. Like if you're gonna be, I've had listing agents, they are present and they're arguing with the home inspector. And I'm like, are you licensed home inspector?
Yeah.
Do you even know what you're talking about? You're
Yeah.
gonna blow this deal up. Stop.
Yeah, that kind of stuff kills deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So
Verbal judo though.
verbal judo, man. Have you read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People?
Yeah, I've never read it, but I just saw like a little blurb about it the other day, and I was seriously considering getting the book. And I think I'm going to do that now because you've just
You should. It's a really good book, and also really teaches you how to really. It teaches you a lot about the verbal judo stuff, and how to pretty much relate with people and not be combative with your speech, if that makes sense.
You got to pick your spots.
Pick your spots. There's this one story in like the beginning of the book where I think it was like Abraham Lincoln got into like a duel with someone. And or something like that. I don't know.
I thought he liked the axe.
What was that?
I thought he used the axe.
I don't know. Some like past president. The story is like something with a duel.
Okay.
And instead of just talking it down, you're literally risking your life in an ego battle. Pretty much.
100%.
So
the best way to approach the verbal judo is, hey, this is not a contact sport. Mm-hmm. This is a team effort. Mm-hmm. Let's get through this amicably and to the table. If you want to yell at each other afterwards, great. This is not our problem. It's our parties that we represent's problem.
True. And I think too, like, you're selling that much real estate, you've run into a lot of situations with that were combative. 100%.
So nobody wants to be wrong. They all want to be right.
That's true. That is true. So, all right, let's just say this, right? You're out there, you've been in the business. Let's just say you've been in the real estate business for 5 years. Your realtor been in the business for 5 years.
That's a jump off point, by the way.
What would you do to level up at that point? How do you get to that next level? You're closing, let's just say 15 transactions a year. How do you get to 25 or 30? How do you get to those numbers?
You have to make a real sincere decision to yourself if you want to either join forces with a team that can provide the resources that you don't have yourself to elevate you to that next level, or you're going to have to fork up the expenses to pay for those resources which you need in order to level up.
What would some of those resources be, you would say?
Admin, CRM, maybe a different lead source if, depending on the level of business that you're trying to achieve compared to what you're doing now. Having a lot of listings is great, but it's expensive, right? Mm-hmm. You probably spend like $70,000 on marketing a year just for the photos and videos and the social media blast. So you got to really budget out where you can put the juice back into your business,
Mm-hmm. So let's say an agent joins your team, what kind of resources can they expect with the Philly Cassell team?
All the above. I mean, I actually have like a little one-pager that explains the dollar amount value that you get for joining the team versus you going on your own. And that's like in the neighborhood of like $150,000 a year just for you, right, as an individual. In addition to, I provide endless amounts of leads, copious amounts of leads, right? I have too much business that I can't satisfy in a quality way simply because of the amount of listings that we have and the traction that we got down on them. So I know a lot of team leaders, they will have specific splits for if you bring a deal versus I bring a deal, it's all you, right? It's whatever the split we have, it's yours. I want you to grow your business while you're with me because that's important to me that you can feel good about being a part of a team that also cares for your individual growth, not just the team's growth. So it's also the mentorship about the development, construction, and investment side. I think a lot of agents are apprehensive about it because there's equations and numbers and factors that you have to figure out. So I'm happy to share all that in a way where I've already figured out the kinks and made the mistakes so you don't have to. I'll save you time.
Can you send me that? I'm going to put that in a link. And
yes, 100%.
Hey, it's to help you, man. I mean,
I'm joking. I'll do it. I'll do it for you, Alex.
Yeah, yes. Send me the link or the flyer. I'll put it in the description. So if you're curious and you're watching this and you want to check out, Philly Cassell's, what you said is a one page sort of.
It's like a value add page to explain, like what we offer, what to expect you're going to get.
Cool.
Being with us.
Yeah, I'll put that in so people can check it out and reach out to you.
I got my little splash page that I can send you.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, that works. Perfect. Cool, man. So, tell me a little bit about where you live.
We happen to be neighbors.
We happen to be neighbors. And I kind of set that question up like I didn't know that, but no. Rich and I both live in Fishtown.
Yeah, like literally 30 seconds from each other.
How long have you lived in Fishtown, by the way?
We moved, what year is it? 2024? A little over a year ago.
Still 2020 in my mind. I feel like COVID was like
it's a blur. We were living in Old City for like 5 or 6 years, and then we got pregnant. And my wife was like, we're not staying in this 2-bed. Like, you got to buy me a house. And I was like, no, we can do it. I love my view. I didn't win that one. So you know, I hate seeing houses for myself because I'm like, just buy an investment property instead of like a single family.
Yeah.
Somehow she convinced me to go check out this house as an open house.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, damn, this is great. Backyard's huge. I love the block. It's like, it was a rehab, right? And very uniquely done, artistically done. So it wasn't one of those cookie cutters.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome. So you've been in there for, again, since
2022.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. End of, like, summer of 2022.
How do you like Fishtown compared to Old City?
It's so different. We lived at the One Water building. So
okay.
it was walkable, but you're on the fringe, right? It's like you're
Because you're
building
right
on
off
the
Delaware
water.
Ave, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Legendary view. Like, we had the 15th floor, looked right at the bridge. I don't think any other building has that exact view. I miss it. I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it right now.
Is that building has ping pong tables up top with like the cool like graffiti type art pictures?
Batman graffiti.
Yeah.
That building is all. I mean, I think it's kind of gone to shit right now. But
really,
the management company, I won't name names, is notorious for not being attentive to their residents and building. So it's like maybe 7-8 years old, but we got in there the second year after it had been built, so it's still fresh.
Yeah.
But it was an awesome building. Being in a neighborhood is totally different vibe. Like, I live near Loco Pez. That's like one of my favorite spots. Like,
shout
right at
out
the point.
Loco Pez.
Free tacos. It's just like it's a great little bubble to be in because, you have like-minded people. Streets are clean. It's easy to walk around, especially if you have a kid. There's parks. It's just...
Unless there's wind. The streets are not clean if there's wind.
So true, because there's so much construction. I take that back.
Especially trash day on a windy day in Fishtown.
I think couples get into legitimate arguments because the wife is like, take out the trash. I'm like, I'm not taking out the trash because I'm going to have to chase the 7 bottles down the street that my neighbors are knocking on the door saying your shit just blew away.
Yeah.
It is. Don't get married. Maybe you should. Yeah, trash day on that day sucks. And then when you have all this construction, your car has this like film of caked, like probably lead dust and whatever asbestos has been knocked down.
Oh, goodness.
Fishtown's great. You should buy in Fishtown.
Don't tell me if I'm going to go out for a jog when I'm going to be breathing in that air.
Deep inhale. They're almost done that boutique hotel though, so I think a lot of that dust will go away.
Oh, right on Belgrade. Right?
Yeah,
Fishtown. That's like the old it's like an old insane asylum or something, right?
It was a retirement home, a insane asylum. You understand the Facetown Facebook group would blow up if they heard you say that?
Listen, man, my great grandfather moved out of Fishtown in like the 60s or 70s.
Okay, it's not a insane asylum. I think actually it was donated by a trust, so that it would remain that building. But whoever was the trustee for it sold it to the developer, and these Israeli guys. They made it into this like pretty cool hotel. I hope it's cool.
I see the pool. When I'm walking by, I see that they put a pool in.
Pretty pumped about the pool.
You said food?
Yeah, there's going to be a restaurant there. Bar restaurant.
Open to the public?
I don't know. I hope so.
That'd be cool. I'd love another spot.
I would be surprised if they made it exclusive just to the residents because it's like, what if they don't get the bookings they want?
Right. That wouldn't make it. Well, what hotels? I know pretty much every hotel you can go to the restaurant if you're not staying there.
I would be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder what kind of food it's going to be.
It's like a European fusion style. Not the actual. I don't know if there's a food, but like the design for the building. So I feel like it's going to be like French, maybe inspired. Who knows? But I know the developer. I have a listing on that specific block.
Yeah.
It's a street-to-street block, and he was trying to put a bid on our listing to see if they could demo the property and make like one of those elevated, carports. We couldn't come to terms, but I was like, that's pretty cool.
That would, yeah. So I guess where's going to be parking? There's no parking for that.
That's a great question. We don't know. Even though it's like a hotel, people still going to have cars, because you're not next to the train. So.
Right, yeah, especially if you're Airbnb, you're going to drive.
It's like 50-something units in there. It's going to get tight.
Yeah, especially if you're staying in a hotel and you're in town, you're probably going to have a rental car.
I was surprised that the city didn't make them have parking,
Yeah, I guess what was going on with that building? Was that just it was just shut down? There was vacant pretty much?
Yeah, it was condemned. I think the company who was helping the old people, not a sane asylum, is just shut down.
I'm like pretty sure I've read somewhere online or somewhere that was like a building for I know it was for like older people, but like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's older people.
like back in the old days or something like about that building. I don't know for sure.
Like there's a stigma on it? What do you mean?
No stigma. Like it was for like I don't know about a Santa sign, but like whatever. Let's move on from that.
Correct.
What is these days?
Throwing it around.
You know, there wasn't a sane asylum in the city.
Is that not politically correct?
I don't know.
No, come on. What would you say?
No, I don't really care. Oh wait, Byberry State, Pencil.
Yeah, and
Byberry
they just
Hospital.
let everybody go. So a lot of the older, I would say, vagrants or homeless people that
Yeah.
are like, whoa, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
They were actually in that asylum, and they just released them to the streets.
When was that? That was a long time ago, right?
It's like 60 years ago.
Yeah, because there was a notorious like state insane asylum, whatever you call it, called Byberry,
Mhm.
Byberry Hospital in like Northeast Philly,
Okay.
and it was like a notorious like. My dad went to Catholic school in this. He went to Father Judge. Shout out Father Judge. But they went on like a field trip to there.
What? That is a
You
terrible
sent a
field
bunch
trip.
of high school kids, and the stuff that he saw going in there, it was I don't know what it might have
you
been
know
for,
what
like
they did,
science
right?
or something.
They scare them into not being sinful little kids.
Maybe I
Like,
think
you'll end up here if you. The church. I'm just saying, the church does that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, he was there because science class or whatever. You know.
Science class.
I don't know.
Come on, man.
I
They're
didn't
just
make
there
the
scaring the
curriculum.
kids. 100% scaring the kids.
Yeah, I don't know if that works, but
Is your dad a good person?
my dad's a great person.
It works.
Yeah, I guess so. So you grew up in the area, right?
Cherry Hill.
Yeah, Cherry Hill. How was that?
I liked it. I mean, my dad, when he was growing up, he lived in like 7 different states because his dad was a nuclear physicist and he would be on this project, that project. And he just had a miserable childhood, always bouncing around. So it was like really critical to him raising a family. He's like, hey, I want to plant roots. So being in, I grew up in Point of Woods. Shout out Point of Woods. It was awesome. Like it was filled with kids my age. And, you know, it was that time where you could just be out all day and no one's concerned, you know? Now everyone's freaking out if like you don't have your cell phone on you. But it was a great experience growing up there.
Did you go to the city a lot growing up in Philly?
I went one time. I didn't know anything about the city
Really?
until I moved here. I spent a lot of time in the woods. I was a woods kid. You know, just
Do
hanging out, just riding my bike and such.
you still do nature stuff at all?
Oh, I have to.
Yeah.
My friends and I do like 1 to 2 big camping trips a year. Like we'll go, Adirondacks and just backpack for a few days.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Like it's a total Wi-Fi cleanse. I mean, you're sweating, you're gritty, you're dirty, you're kind of hungry, and you're just like trekking up a mountain, grabbing trees. It's awesome. Such a good feeling.
wow. How was that experience? Do you think that like when you come back from that kind of rejuvenates and like brings you business? Like,
Yeah, because you're clear-headed and you're like, oh, you know what? I have the luxury of being able to take whatever 3 to 4 days off I want because of what I've been able to build, but I appreciate the fruits of my labor for that. So I'm like, okay, I'm even keeled, I'm centered, I can go back, I can operate at a high level knowing that I'll have the opportunity to go do it again.
and when I made this point too in a previous episode, like if you, even just putting my phone away or doing something without looking at it, even just a couple hours,
Changes your mood.
you feel so much better.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine just being in this business like before everyone just had a cell phone readily available, or even the like internet, like in front of a screen for so long?
Yeah. The deal volume, I think, is different now compared to back then because you had to physically get contracts signed, right? Now you can just shoot a DocuSign out, get a deal done, and literally sign in under 5 seconds, you know?
That's true.
You know, back then you have to it's you're belly to belly for everything. You know, I remember Mike McCann, he said back then he had to mail his certificate of occupancy requests. So he did 90 deals his first year. That's 90 times that you have to just, mail, lick, stamp, mail, lick, stamp. And that's just one portion of the transaction. So I don't even know where we're going with this, but back in the day you had to work way harder.
Way harder, but like now it's more efficient.
Yeah,
But it's a
efficient is
trade-off. I would say it's a trade-off in a way.
Yeah. Oh, but the cell phone thing, yeah. So I think 2000 and 2013, 2014 is when I got my first like smartphone. I had a flip phone.
What?
I didn't want a smartphone.
No way.
I only had a flip phone.
I don't believe you.
My wife like argued with me.
Dude, you didn't get a smartphone until 2012 or 2013, 2014.
Yeah. I just wanted a flip phone because I was like, I don't want to get stuck on that screen. The flip phone I was totally fine with it. Now, obviously,
I would love that.
quasi slave to my phone, but I miss the flip phone. Simpler. You shut it. Go on.
I'd these thoughts sometimes like, I'll just keep my cell phone for like business, and then after a certain hour, just have a flip phone.
Little burner phone.
Little flip phone, like, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm done. Because you look at your phone, like I'm on it from pretty much when I wake up to sometimes I'm on the phone, and this too, like I'm on the phone late sometimes, man, like 8, 9 o'clock. Actually, the other night I was on the phone at like 10:30.
Tell me about it.
It's crazy.
Stupid.
How do you set boundaries with clients and people like when it comes to like calling that late?
Now I do.
Yeah.
Now I do. In the beginning, it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of missed dinners. It's a lot of looking down while you have your friends or family or birthdays or vacations. It's not easy, right? But boundaries now, once you do have an operational business, are critical because you don't want to get lost in the sauce. Like, there's only a handful of people I'll take a phone call now, past 7. I'll get back to you, but you got to, respect that I have a family. I respect that you have your own life. There's very few emergencies in real estate. Maybe 0.00001% of the time, someone's actually going to be homeless if you don't get something signed right now.
That's true.
So, I'm not curing major disease. They can wait.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think that's good to have too. So what kind of systems in place do you have as far as like how do you stay organized when a deal goes under contract? Like how do you keep do you have certain systems, processes, and how do you keep your leads and people you're working with all organized?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So unless you're earning, learning, or enjoying, delegate it. Right. So all of the major systems I have, I delegate to my ops person. We have our CRM that automatically follows up with past clients. We have our email list for different purchase criteria for our investors. We have a follow-up system for, birthdays and anniversaries and, hey, what's up? Think about you. So a lot of that's, online. Some of it's physical. I used to write letters in the beginning. And now it's too much. I would just spend writing letters all day at that point if I was doing it.
I think the personal touch, like when I was going through coaching and stuff, I was taught to send thank you cards, handwritten thank you cards.
Yeah.
I think that it's good.
Oh, I love that. I love the thank you cards. Most of my business in the beginning came from that. It sets you apart because like who sends you a letter these days?
Yeah.
It's like text with your thumbs. So when you see something handwritten and you can tell it was actually handwritten, not like the RoboPen.
Dude, those are so weird. You can tell, like you're looking at it. That doesn't.
No
look
one has
right.
perfect handwriting like that.
Yeah.
I walked in. I was selling a house one time, and the guy's business was RoboPen. I don't know if that's the right name, but I like the sound of it. RoboPen.
Yeah.
If I had that, I would name it that. He had like 5 or 6 stations of these things, just writing the letters. It's like, that's serious. And he was like, "Don't touch." He's like, "I have this thing calibrated. If you bump, it's like threatening to sue me." I was like, "Man, relax."
Jeez.
I didn't touch it, but he was like, "If you do, like, whoa."
Guy's gonna send the Terminator on you.
The RoboPen.
So I guess, okay. Let me recalibrate myself after that one.
Maybe you should go for a camping trip.
Honestly, man, I honestly would love to. Like, let's go on a camping
I'll
trip,
invite
man.
you. You can come. You got to get some gear. You got to spend some like $400 or $500 at REI.
So first you're gonna invite me to get punched in the face, and next you're gonna send me into a hike and where I'm starving to death.
That's good friendship, man. Hurt you and then heal you. It's a good cycle.
No, I actually would love to do something like that.
It's an awesome experience.
Yeah.
You get, you go with a group of guys, you get close, you hang out. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And so you typically go up like upstate New York type.
That's where the good mountains are. I mean, sometimes if time allows for it, we'll go further somewhere else. But Adirondacks is huge, so easy to get to.
Yeah, I would definitely love that. Cool, man. Well, want to go a little bit more, just a tad bit more into your kind of speculation on where to invest in real estate in Philadelphia. So if you're looking to buy in Philadelphia, either an investment
Or Jersey.
or Jersey, yeah, let's include Jersey. What are some of the top areas that you would say is a good spot where you have some room for appreciation, some growth within the next couple of years, where you can still get in at like a price point that isn't too high yet?
You got to ask yourself how risk averse you are. You know, if you're in developing neighborhoods, then you got to be able to sit for 3 to 5 years or more for that appreciation to occur. You got to determine what's your strategy. Do you care about appreciation? Do you want cash flow? Do you want to be able to flip it in a year or two? Like what is your interest in terms of an investment strategy? If you just want cash flow, then maybe you want to be a little risky and hit up that higher cap rates in the C and D neighborhoods, right? So if you look at it from a 10,000 foot view, North Philly near Temple and West Philly past like 42nd Street, those have seen the highest growth in the past 5 years, right? Blowing up. But it's still riskier neighborhoods. So it really just determines, you know, for layman explanation for people who are getting into investing, cap rate, right? What is a cap rate? We use that to explain the risk evaluation of that asset. It's the return on investment, paying back the original purchase price on an annual basis, typically cash, right? So the higher the cap rate, the lower the investment, you know, less money you have to pay for the investment, but more risk. That means more reward though. If you want a stable asset, it's a greater amount of money you got to put out for the investment and a smaller cash flow, but it's stable. So it's like a race. Do you want to get there quick with a lot of money and maybe break your ankle, or take your time and guarantee that you're going to make something?
That was a great explanation.
Awesome.
JT, clip that, all right, man? Clip that one. No, I love that. How about Jersey? What are some spots in Jersey you recommend as well?
I think I've seen a lot of activity in Blackwood. You know, it's
Blackwood.
Yeah, I think anytime you're near like colleges or major municipal services, it's a good bet because blue collar workers are typically who you want as a tenant, stable. The barrier to entry is usually lower for an investment like that. So again, colleges and municipal services is a good place to be near.
Do you do any real estate investing yourself?
Of course, you have to. I think you should always ask a realtor you're going to work with if they also invest, because if they don't own any properties, and there's no judgment, right? It depends on where they're on in their career. But I think once you are a few years in the business and you plan on staying in the business, it's irresponsible if you're not purchasing. Otherwise, like, you don't really know the process. Yes, you can walk somebody through the process, but like until you're in it, until you actually do it, it's totally different. You're in their shoes. So, you know, being a real estate agent, it's like a means to an end for me. I want to build capital so I can deploy it and purchase investments. So I personally invest in West Philly, in like Cedar Park area. I like that. It's like right next to Baltimore Avenue. Great tenants, good quality people, good rents, which is important too. So yes, the answer is yes. Yes.
When did you start investing in real estate?
I would say probably like 4 years ago.
4 years ago, okay.
But I also work with a lot of builders and developers where I have the opportunity to participate in equity share. So say, hey, we're doing this build. Do you want to throw a little into the mix? You get a return on it? Yeah, of course I do. So I'll put some money in, and then, you know, not only do I have the opportunity to resell it, but I'll make some on the back end as well.
Wow, I did not know that was really a thing.
They call it a promote. So it's like you can get points for facilitating the deal or points for investing in the deal. So I like to tell people to be creative as possible. You know, the more creative you are, the more things that you can put together. Real estate's like a puzzle, and each deal is like that other puzzle piece putting it together. And once you've put enough puzzle pieces next to each other connecting, then you have this picture of like what you want to do with yourself, what you want to do, what direction you want to go in, you know?
Do you ever see yourself expanding your business outside of the Philadelphia area and, you know, going to another state or another metro area ever? Yeah,
so our team operates in New Jersey. It operates in PA. I believe our office is actually expanding to Delaware, and I want to say Florida. So I would be open to talking to agents in Delaware to see what interest they have to join a team that's already performing at a high level, and we can offer mentorship. So I would.
And your office and brokerage just merged,
got married,
right? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what happened there, because I think a lot of people are kind of curious. But it was KW Philadelphia and KW Philly became one entity, right?
Yeah, KW Empower.
Yeah.
I think that's still a name in progress, work in progress.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of drama behind the backstory that I probably won't share on this podcast. But I think for a lot of people, it makes sense. And it just brings a lot more, power. Power's not a great word. It's legitimacy to our brokerage by saying, hey, we have X amount more agents. We have this much market share. It looks good on paper.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever work out of the office at all?
In fact, I just took out office space a month ago.
Oh, let's go. Where at?
Yeah, in our actual office at 728 South Broad Street.
Okay, in the South.
Yeah. So I've been aggressively recruiting people to join my team. And the two biggest pain points I've had personally are social media presence and office space, right? I've always had the philosophy of operate boots on the ground, be in the field, always check out properties. Seeing inventory isn't just about seeing inventory. It's also about showing your face to the public. So many times I have gotten listings from the neighbors because I'll just see them on the street and I'll just talk to them, right? Have as many conversations as you can. I'll say, hey, I'm checking out this property. You want to see what your neighbor's house looks like? They love it. So many people are nosy. And I'm talking to them, like, oh, you really seem like you know what you're doing. I was like, yeah, I'd love to give you a home evaluation too. So many listings I've gotten just from that. So,
dude, people can learn so much from you.
I hope. Where was I going with that?
We're talking about the office. You're off.
Yeah. So everyone is like,
boots on the ground.
I really want an office space where I feel like I can do a 9 to 5. So I said, okay, that makes sense. I'm already a structured person. So getting the office space really is encouraging people to say, look, here's your home base. We can still be boots on the ground, but here's your home base so we can do trainings and lead gen together and education. And then the second pain point was the social media presence. So I just hired a social media ambassador to kind of like put the good word out there for the business.
That's good.
Yeah.
How'd you find the social media ambassador?
My girl, Rachel Rao, Spire App Shack, I got a shout out to her. She put me in touch with Melissa, and she's great. I mean, she's very knowledgeable about the specific algorithms and getting the most views and engagement. So that's been a big help.
Cool. Yeah, maybe put me in touch. You never know.
Man, that's my secret. That's my secret sauce. Get your own.
No, I'm just kidding. Cool, man. Well, I'll have to stop by the office and check out your little space. And
we're still kind of getting it together.
Yeah, man, I'd love to.
Motivational posters and the hanging plants and the candy bars or whatever.
Yeah. Cool. So you want to shout out your social media, your pages?
MyPhilly_Cassell. My Philly Cassell.
My Philly Cassell. All right, everyone. That's Cassell.
Yes. My whole life I've been having to correct people. Cassell.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm like, there's no I at the end. I don't know how you're coming up with that.
I can just read, man. I can read English.
That's good. Loan officer, my specialty. I'll say your last name right.
Honestly, that is a skill in this industry because I've come across, honestly, people really butcher my name, believe it or not.
Really?
People do not know how to spell my name. They're like, what? Like, how to Pogono, like crazy spellings, pronunciations. It's pretty easy, I think.
Yeah.
Straightforward. I think so. Maybe.
Oh, forget those people.
Yeah. Cool. Well, make sure to check Rich out on social media. If you're interested in having a conversation with him about his team, want to learn some more about him. If you have a home, you're doing a flip, or you want to sell your home or buy a home, Rich is a great asset and extremely knowledgeable person. So
appreciate that a great deal. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. Well, thank you.